I am at long last going to reveal my Birkin. I bought an Hermes Birkin September 15th, and I've just been holding on to it and loving it and using it and enjoying every second of it before I decided to release the information to the world. But now I am ready and I have come on to do so. So anyway, let me quickly, this is going to be a little rambly because I want to tell the story to those who want to know my story behind it. If you don't, just skip around or whatever. I might even do a separate just the facts Jack kind of video. We'll see, but this is the more rambly one, so let's get going so it doesn't get too long. Anyway, generalized history of me and my love for the bag. I have always loved handheld bags. For me, they've just always been very, very ladylike looking, and shoulder bags sometimes hurt my shoulders, so I started, going back and forth between shoulder bags because they're so convenient, and handheld, and I've always been a lover of handheld bags. So that's never been an issue for me. I love them, always have. So the Birkin was introduced in 1981, and that's when I was a good 16, 17 years old. So that was right when I was really starting to, read the Vogue and the glamour magazines, and I would see what was out there and so forth, and I loved handheld ladylike type bags. So that was sort of my backstory on the whole thing. I did find when I was in my late 20s, I believe it was, this bag, which is a Dooney & Bourke, and I used this thing for years. I love the look, I love the feel. It was a little too small though, it just was too narrow and so forth. But this has done really, really well for me. I've loved it very, very much. But this was my kind of bag, and I knew that. I just knew that, okay, that's the one I want. I want something like that forever. So, but I really would like for it to be a little bit bigger. In the meantime, as years have gone by, I had children and so forth, I saw a Birkin bag for the first time, and I did not know what it was. I just said, oh my gosh, that's the one. That's exactly what I have been looking for. What is it? I have to figure out what that is, right? So mindset, that's the one. That's what I had always envisioned. That's what I want for life. Then I found out what it was, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I can really truly appreciate why it is as expensive as it is because of all the craftsmanship, the one person working 48 hours to continuously, meaning spread over work hours a week. So it takes an entire week, one person, one artisan, using his own tools that he takes with him, when he retires. I mean, that type of an artisan to make one bag. I get it, it's not like made in factories all over the place and a whole bunch of different people have their hands in it. It's an actual work of art. So I mean, I understand that, I can appreciate that, but I knew that it wasn't in my immediate future anytime soon. So I go on with my life. I love bags. I use bags all over the place all the time, but that's always been the one that I have coveted. And as with my Dooney that I just threw on the floor, as with my Dooney, I have always wanted it to be in black with silver hardware. That just to me is the epitome, and that's what I've always wanted. So it's always been in my mind. So fast forward to this time in my life. Many, many years have gone by. Still absolutely adore that bag. Still very happy with other bags too, but that one's always been on my mind. So I, as you know, if you watch my channel at all, I rented an Hermes Evelyn bag. Some people say Evelyn. I believe in Hermes they say Evelyn anyway. Rented one of them to see if I liked it enough to actually go try to find one because it was hard to find at the time. Loved it. And then spoke with someone at the Hermes store in Chicago, and he said, I can get one in for you. And I said, fantastic. So he did. So the day came where I was to go pick it up, and it happened to be September 15th, 2017. And that happened to be a day that I was already in the city meeting a lot of fun people for a meetup. So I was there, and I had a dinner engagement that evening. So I knew I had like a split amount of time, and I wanted to run real quick and pick up my Evelyn bag from the Hermes store. So first off, the meetup was at the Louis Vuitton store on Michigan Avenue. Fell in love with the pontoon. I did the video on that, and I wrote in the description that I have since returned that bag, and this is why. So basically, I had this giant box and bag from Louis Vuitton. I'm walking around. We go to Chanel with the meetup people, and it was an absolute blast just to be with them and have fun. But I kept my eye on my watch thinking, oh darn, I have to leave early for this dinner. But I also have to stop by Hermes real quick and pick up the bag. So I said my goodbyes and went to the Hermes store, and my SA that I had spoken to on the phone was not available. He was with other people, so I was just kind of wandering around looking at all the pretties and so forth, and a manager happened to help me. I didn't know he was a manager at the time, but he said, is there something I can help you with? And I explained I was waiting for my SA and he was expecting me. There's a bag here for me. And he said, well, what is your name? I'll get it for you. So again, didn't even know he was a manager. So he went to the back and he got my lovely, wonderful bag for me, and I looked it over and fell in love, and this is exactly what I wanted. So I decided, yes, I wanted this bag, so I went and I paid for it. And as I was there, I remembered my husband and I had had a conversation. He knew I was going to Hermes that day, and he had recently had a kind of a personal and professional milestone in his life that we were sort of celebrating. And he knew I was going to be at Hermes, and he's known that I've loved the Birkin bag forever. And he basically said to me, ask them to put you on the list. I know it's a 2-year waiting list for the color, the leather, everything that you want, the hardware, but just go ahead and put yourself on the list. So bless his little heart, I love him to pieces. Anyway, he told me to go ahead and get myself on the list. So as I am checking out, and I paid for this bag, and he's, you know, saying he's gonna wrap it up for me, I said, by the way, and again, I didn't even know he was manager. I said, by the way, I would like to be put on the list if there's a list or anything. This is the bag I want. This is the size, the color, the hardware, everything. I'm ready to buy whenever it's available. Could I please be put on a list if there is one? That's just all I said, basically. And he said, so you're looking for that one? And I said, yes. He said, any other colors? And I said, well, maybe this or that other color, but I really want this one. And he said, okay, all right, I will do that. Let me just, you know, I'll put your name down or whatever. And he wrote something. Let me get this boxed up for you, and just have a look around, and I'll be back out. I'm like, okay, great. So I'm looking around, I'm sniffing all the different perfumes and fragrances and looking at the scarves. And he comes out with my lovely bag all wrapped up and put in an Hermes bag. And he goes and hands it to me, and he's shaking my hand. And as he took my hand, he pulled me into him, and he said, I have something you might want to see. I'm like, really? And I'm still looking at my watch thinking I gotta get home and get ready for this dinner. Anyway, I go, really? I was all confused. I'm like, okay. And he said, I have a Birkin you might be interested in. Would you like to see it? I'm like, yes, please. So and at this point I am shaking. I'm just like, what is happening, you know? So he comes out with a box, and it still had the plastic, like, you know, clear cellophane on the Hermes box. And he opens it up carefully. He has his gloves on. He opens it up. He takes it off. He does the paper very carefully. He did that with the Evelyn too. It's so precise and lovely. You're at this little table kind of a thing. It's so beautiful. And oh my gosh, out comes this bag. I mean, I'm at this point literally shaking. It was everything I could do not to just grab it out of his hands. He took all the things that were protecting it, and he put it together and so forth with the clips, and then he handed it to me to check out, to look at and so forth. So I'm standing there in the mirror shaking and looking at it, and I asked him over and over, I'm just like, and this is the right kind of leather, this is, you know, and he's like, yes, 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 yes. So it was exactly the one that I wanted. And I stared at it. I looked it over, top, bottom, left, right. I have no idea to this day why this bag happened to be there at that moment. It had not been already, you know, seen and rejected by someone else. It just was absolutely like meant to be. So I purchased this bag. And, well, I called my husband and I told him as I'm at the store, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have one, oh my gosh, you know. He's like, okay, all right. I'm like, well, what do I do? And he's like, you buy it. I'm like, really? And he's like, yes. So I'm so excited. I'm standing there with an enormous box from Louis Vuitton with my Pontoon in there. I'm standing there with an enormous box from Hermes with my Evelyn in there. And I'm waiting for them to box up my Hermes. I mean, seriously, you could have knocked me over with a feather. I was just in some sort of strange shock. I don't know. I can't even describe it. I really can't to this day. And I still feel like I don't understand how it worked out. Backstory, I have purchased one bracelet from that store a couple years ago, the Click H. My husband has purchased another bracelet for me on his own, so I don't have any relationship with anybody there. I didn't at the time. Okay, now I do. But at the time I went to go get these, I just grabbed the name off of my receipt from when I bought my one bracelet, and he's the man that I asked for, you know, if he could find the Evelyn for me. And then I ended up working with this other person who I later found out was a manager. So anyway, I don't know how it worked out. I didn't have to build any special relationship. They didn't know me from anyone. I seriously just walked in and asked to be put on the list, and I got the exact bag that I wanted. So in general, I will insert a clip here of the unboxing when I came home and I got to unbox it for myself, because I did want to videotape that, so in case I did ever want to tell the world about this, I would have that. So take a look at that little bit right now. So here she is. This is the size 30 in noir black with the palladium hardware, and it's in togo leather. And what else is there to know? It's just absolutely perfect. So anyway, these stickers are driving me insane. I know people like to keep them on there to keep the hardware nice. They're making me crazy, and I'm going to be removing those. I'll probably make a video of myself doing that. And I purchased these Orange Shields hardware protectors, and I hear that these are great. So I'm going to be taking those off and putting these on, because I think this just looks just awful with these, you know, the sticker thing on there. But I mean, the stickers on everything, on just seriously everything, including the feet. So I will be replacing those, but let's quickly look inside. I want this to be my everyday bag. Jane Birkin, in the pictures I've seen of her carrying her bags, that's who I want to be. I want to be able to use this for nicer occasions, but yet also just grab it and go, fill it to the top, run around. She was so casual. She even put stickers all over hers just to kind of make it more casual looking. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be ooh la la. You know, it certainly can if you wanted to, but I'm not that kind of a person. I'm definitely more of a just sort of a casual live my life kind of a lady. And this has gone to Target with me lots of times, and I'm so happy that she and I can be best friends like that. So anyway, here is the bag open, and it's black inside, so you're not gonna see much of anything. Oh golly, okay. But there is, there is a slip pocket right here, in case you're unfamiliar. And on this back wall, there is a zip. This is how I have it. This is how I'm always carrying it. I adore it. I just always keep it open to this level. You can get in and out perfectly. And these don't flop around. They still stay there. It is just an absolutely stunning bag. I am in love with it, and I could not be happier. I could not. I am so happy that even with any negative comments or whatever, which I know I'll probably get, it is what it is. You do you, I'll do me. I'm just very happy. It comes with a raincoat, which I think would almost be embarrassing to use, but I would still do it if I had to. So basically what I do is I slip this down in the bottom and it just stays with me in case I need it someday. But anyway, this is my bag. I am open to any questions you have. I absolutely love it. Like I say, I will be switching the stickers to the other ones and see how those work for me. And if those don't work and they still look this nasty, I will just take them off and love it. And if I get scratches, right? Because seriously, I'm not planning to sell this. This isn't an investment for me. This is just a bag that I will be so happy to carry every day that I carry it for the rest of my life. I plan to be 94 years old and walking into some sort of a dinner wearing this bag. So I'll see you there at that dinner. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for your patience for those of you who knew that I had this, but I hadn't talked about it. And I just love you all to pieces. I really do. Thank you so much. Bye.